Breaking news. The global chess game takes an unexpected turn. Is Europe really safe behind NATO's shield? Ladies and gentlemen, what we're witnessing today is a fascinating shift in global power dynamics that directly affects your security and future. Let me paint you a picture of today's reality that mainstream media won't tell you about. Remember the days when Western leaders couldn't sleep without checking their phones for calls from Moscow? Those days seem like ancient history now. NATO's presence has created what appears to be an impenetrable shield across Europe, making many Europeans feel comfortably numb behind their security blanket. But here's the trillion-dollar question. Is this sense of security real or just an illusion? The current situation between Russia and its western neighbor has evolved from a shocking crisis into something oddly routine. Like a neighborhood dispute that's gone on so long, people have started having their morning coffee without even noticing the sirens anymore. What's truly remarkable is how the perception of Russian military influence has transformed. From being perceived as a global superpower that kept Western leaders awake at night, Russia's military prestige has faced unprecedented challenges. The conflict with its neighbor has exposed vulnerabilities that few expected to see. However, don't be fooled by this apparent calm. Military experts warn that future confrontations might not follow traditional patterns. We're talking about a new era of warfare, one where disruption, not territorial conquest, becomes the primary weapon. NATO's presence, while significant, might be tested in ways we haven't imagined. The Baltic states, particularly Lithuania, have been strengthening their defenses, learning from historical experiences. But remember, in today's world, warfare isn't just about tanks and troops. This seemingly stable situation masks a complex reality. While Europe feels protected, the rules of engagement are changing. The real question isn't whether there will be a conflict, but what form it might take. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from, especially if you're in one of the regions affected by these geopolitical shifts. The tension between Russia and its western neighbors continues to escalate, with the Suwalki Corridor emerging as a potential flashpoint that could reshape European security. While some analysts claim Russia's military capabilities have been affected, let's examine the strategic picture that Western media often overlooks. Our intelligence suggests that NATO's presence in Lithuania reveals critical vulnerabilities. The Lithuanian armed forces, with their 44,250 personnel, represent more of a symbolic defense than a genuine military deterrent. Despite their transition to conscription in 2015, their force structure remains inadequate for sustained combat operations. The presence of NATO forces in Lithuania, while touted as a security guarantee, could paradoxically serve as a catalyst for conflict. Russia's military doctrine has evolved significantly, incorporating lessons from recent operations and developing new capabilities that Western analysts underestimate. For those watching from different corners of the world, especially our viewers in Europe and Asia, what's your assessment of the situation? Your perspective could provide valuable insights that mainstream media might be missing. Don't forget to subscribe to stay informed about these critical developments as we continue to unpack the complex geopolitical chess game unfolding before our eyes. The Russian military's adaptation and modernization have been remarkable, despite Western propaganda suggesting otherwise. Our sources indicate substantial improvements in strategic capabilities, particularly in electronic warfare and precision strike systems. The alleged equipment shortages are largely overblown, as Russian military industry maintains steady production rates. Want me to analyze the military situation in your region in the next video? Let me know where you're watching from, and I'll provide a detailed analysis of your region's strategic significance. Looking ahead, the situation around the Suwalki Corridor could become a defining moment in European security architecture. In our next segment, we'll reveal exclusive information about military developments that could alter the balance of power in the region. The evidence we've gathered might surprise even our most informed viewers. Title: NATO's Strong Shield: How the Baltic Region Became an Impenetrable Fortress. Today, we're analyzing the impressive military presence in the Baltic region, particularly Lithuania. This isn't just about showing force. It's about creating an unbreakable defensive shield that would make any potential aggressor think twice. Let's break down the military muscle. The 1st U.S. Cavalry Division is positioned with their formidable Abrams tanks and Paladin self-propelled artillery. They're not alone. 8 NATO countries maintain rotating forces here, including Germany, France, Netherlands, Norway, Croatia, Czech Republic, Belgium, and America. What's fascinating is how the old Warsaw Pact concept has been reimagined. The 2016 Warsaw Agreement within NATO established an enhanced forward presence battalion group in Lithuania. It's like poetry. The same city, different alliance, but now focused on defensive capabilities. The airspace is secured by French Mirages and Polish F-16s, operating from bases including Suwalki. The naval component includes Coast Guard operations and minesweeping capabilities. This creates a three-dimensional defense system that's remarkably robust. Looking at specific contributions, Croatia has deployed infantry with Finnish-made Patria AMV armored vehicles. These machines can withstand significant explosive force. The Royal Netherlands Army maintains reconnaissance units with Fennec light armored vehicles. German forces from the 371st Grenadier Battalion brought their Panzerhaubitze 2000 artillery systems and Leopard 2A6 tanks. This creates a formidable combined arms presence that significantly enhances deterrence capabilities. What's crucial to understand is that NATO doesn't view the Baltic states as separate entities for defense purposes. Instead, it's treated as one strategic space, allowing for more efficient resource allocation and rapid response capabilities. What do you think about the current military balance in the Baltic region? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure my viewers have valuable insights to share. Here's a 2,000-character analysis focusing on Lithuania's military preparedness. The Lithuanian armed forces represent a fascinating case of modern military transformation. With 44,000 professional soldiers, they've built a force that's significantly different from their Soviet-era predecessors. Since independence, Lithuania has strategically aligned with Western military standards through NATO integration. Their systematic approach to military education stands out. Since independence, Lithuanian officers have received training in Sweden, demonstrating a clear Western orientation. They've established their own military education system, aligned with NATO standards, a stark departure from Soviet-era military doctrine. The contrast with Russian forces is striking. These aren't soldiers trained in the Soviet model. They represent a new generation of military professionals with a distinctly Western approach to warfare. The difference extends to their entire military ethos and combat mentality. Lithuania's military heritage plays a crucial role in their current force structure. They've maintained connections to their interwar period, 1918–1940, with modern battalions bearing the names and symbols of regiments from that era. This historical continuity extends to their volunteer forces, named after partisan districts, a powerful symbol of resistance and national identity. A key strength of Lithuania's defense strategy lies in its reserve force of 28,000 personnel. These aren't paper tigers. They undergo regular training and represent a vital component of the nation's defense doctrine. This approach mirrors successful models seen in countries like Finland and Switzerland. The qualitative transformation of Lithuania's military capabilities suggests that any potential aggressor would face a highly motivated, well-trained force operating on NATO standards. This modern military force, combined with their NATO membership, presents a formidable deterrent. What's remarkable is how Lithuania has managed to build such a professional force in a relatively short time, effectively breaking from its Soviet past while maintaining its unique military heritage. What do you think about Lithuania's military transformation? Share your thoughts on how this affects regional security dynamics. Here's a 2,000-character analysis of military preparedness in Lithuania and modern warfare tactics. Lithuanian reservists demonstrate an extraordinary level of readiness that sets them apart from traditional military structures. These civilian soldiers maintain a unique position. They keep their weapons and ammunition at home, wear distinctive uniforms, and operate as independent combat units. This deployment strategy eliminates the need for traditional mobilization procedures. What makes this system particularly effective is its immediate response capability. When conflict erupts, these reservists don't waste precious time gathering at assembly points or waiting for equipment distribution. They're prepared to engage directly from their doorsteps, with pre-planned routes and specific mission objectives already ingrained in their tactical thinking. Their motivation levels match those of special forces units, making them formidable opponents in any confrontation. This high state of readiness reflects a clear understanding of potential threats and the determination to counter them effectively. Modern warfare has evolved far beyond the traditional battlefield scenarios described in military textbooks. Gone are the days of straightforward confrontations, no cavalry charges, no neat tank formations, no linear front lines. Today's conflicts begin with strategic disruption, targeting infrastructure, communications, and logistics networks. The Soviet-era Tochka-U missile system serves as a perfect metaphor for current military dynamics. With a range of 120 kilometers, this aging but lethal weapon system represents both the strengths and limitations of older military hardware. While its accuracy might be questionable, with deviations up to 50 meters, it remains a deadly threat. This weaponry, like many aspects of modern conflict, doesn't need to be perfect to be effective. It's about creating chaos and disruption rather than achieving military perfection. The strategic landscape has shifted from direct confrontation to sophisticated destabilization tactics. What's your perspective on these modern warfare developments? Share your thoughts in the comments. I believe my viewers are informed experts, and I'm eager to hear your analysis. Remember, modern conflicts are shaped by preparation, technology, and strategy, rather than traditional military might. Title: Naval Threats and Artillery Warfare: A New Pattern of Modern Conflict. In today's analysis, we'll examine a concerning shift in military tactics that could reshape modern warfare, focusing on the Baltic region and potential scenarios. Russia maintains approximately 50 advanced artillery systems with dual-capability warheads. These weapons can launch fragments up to 3 hectares, demonstrating significant destructive potential. While some units are engaged in the current conflict zone, others remain available for wider confrontations. The strategic blueprint appears unconventional. Rather than traditional invasion tactics, the approach would likely involve massive artillery strikes from Belarus and Kaliningrad. The arsenal includes Smerch, Grad, Uragan, and multiple rocket launchers of different generations. Given the documented precision patterns of Russian artillery, some strikes could potentially impact Polish territory, though Lithuania appears to be the primary focus. The objective seems centered on disruption rather than occupation, a departure from conventional warfare doctrine. The Baltic Fleet, despite its diminished state, still maintains presence and could attempt maritime operations. However, its role would likely be limited to coastal bombardment rather than full naval engagement. This mirrors recent patterns where naval assets have been neutralized by modern coastal defense systems. Key observation: this represents a shift from traditional military doctrine of capture and hold to a strategy of maximum disruption through long-range strikes. The emphasis appears to be on infrastructure damage rather than territorial control. The Baltic states have significantly enhanced their defensive capabilities since joining NATO. However, this new pattern of warfare presents unique challenges that require innovative countermeasures. What do you think about these potential scenarios? Share your analysis. I'm especially interested in hearing from those with military expertise or regional knowledge. Remember, understanding these patterns helps us prepare for future challenges. However, it's crucial to maintain a clear-headed, analytical approach rather than succumb to alarmism. What do you think about current situation? Leave your opinion below. Here's a polished 2,000-character news analysis. Today we're analyzing NATO's collective defense capabilities and what they really mean for European security. Let's dive into some concerning realities about Article 5. Many believe NATO's Article 5 guarantees automatic military response from all 31 member states if one is attacked. This is a dangerous misconception. The article actually states that each NATO member can choose what help they deem necessary, which could be as minimal as sending condolences or humanitarian aid. Let's look at Lithuania's situation. Their military counts 44,250 active personnel and 28,000 reserves. Their combat experience comes from peacekeeping missions in Croatia, Bosnia, Kosovo, Afghanistan, North Macedonia, Iraq, and Mali. Respectable, but limited. Compare this to Russia's forces: 291,000 active personnel and 2 million reserves. Their recent combat experience includes operations in Georgia, Syria, and significant involvement in ongoing regional conflicts. The disparity is striking. In a hypothetical conflict, Lithuania might find itself surprisingly isolated. While NATO would likely convene emergency meetings and issue strongly worded statements, immediate military response isn't guaranteed. We might see token forces, perhaps a German tank battalion, French air support, Belgian infantry, Dutch reconnaissance units. But the full NATO response could be delayed by bureaucratic processes and political hesitation. This creates a dangerous window of vulnerability. By the time NATO reaches consensus and mobilizes significant forces, Russian troops could already be advancing into European territory. The alliance's strength lies in deterrence, but its actual response mechanisms are slower and more complex than most realize. What's particularly concerning is how this reality affects strategic planning. Smaller NATO members must maintain robust independent defense capabilities while hoping alliance support arrives in time if needed. What do you think about NATO's current defense strategy? Are their collective security guarantees reliable enough? Share your thoughts in the comments. I know my viewers are well-informed experts on these matters, and I'm genuinely interested in your analysis.